Hi, I'm Brittany here with your Art Fail of the Week. Today I'm going to show you how to paint a cloud, and I'm going to go pretty basic with just black and white, more of a beginner of just mixing our black and white and making grays. So you'll need those colors, some paintbrushes, your paint palette, and something to paint on. And today I'm going to be using a canvas pad. So the one I have looks like this. It's rather large. It is sheets of 12 by 16 inches. But what it is just basically canvas. So one side is gessoed for you, and they're just these sheets, basically like paper, but a muslin canvas instead. Kind of just almost like you could use it as a scrap or just practice pages instead of using your good canvases that are already wrapped to practice techniques and stuff. And so today it'll be perfect to use this and try to paint a cloud. Alright, so I went ahead and put white and black onto my palette. I had a little extra on the cap, so I just kind of rubbed it there because that's where we're going to be mixing. Now, you're going to want to kind of work fast. Not super fast, but a little fast so that we can blend our colors. So if at any time during the video you need to catch up, just pause and then do the steps I'm doing, so that can help you. Okay, so we're gonna do kind of the cumulus fluffy cloud. So it's not gonna be like those wispy clouds or anything. We're gonna go with our normal puffy kind of cloud. You're probably not going to be able to see the white super well, but I'm just making the outline of my cloud with this white. And if you want to sketch first, you can. If you want a very specific shape, I would actually suggest sketching first if you want it to not be just kind of abstract from your brain. Okay, I'm gonna actually mix in my first grays, I think. So we'll take our white, a good amount, and I'm gonna steal some of this black. You don't need a lot of black. You're going to be using way more white, and you're just going to mix until you kind of get the gray that you want. I'm going for like pretty light gray at first, just so you guys can start seeing my cloud a little better. So I'm trying to go mostly white. That should be good. It's a little darker than I wanted, but I can always, while it's still wet, you mix in some white. Do that now. You see how I can make that a little bit lighter just because I mixed some. Right, there we got our shadow started on our cloud. Let me kind of outline my cloud. Don't do this step. I'm just outlining my cloud so you can see where I put the white, because you can't super see based on the white gesso on this canvas paper. So that's kind of the shape that I was going with my cloud. Gonna mix a little bit more white in here. It got a little too dark for me. See how we get it more of a lighter shadow. It actually kind of worked out for me to do an outline because it seems like the shadow is behind it then. So if you like that look, you can do that with your cloud. I'm gonna wait a little bit for this area to dry because I'm gonna go over with white, but I don't want it to fully blend because I want it to have that highlight color of the pure white more. I'm gonna work on the shadows in here and make these darker. Gonna use a little bit smaller brush. You also might want to have some water on hand. I did not mention that in the beginning with your supplies, but I usually have some water on hand. Okay, this is already starting to dry. Get some more black in there. I'll do several clouds with you just so you can see my process. And there's a little bit darker. Now this all depends on where light is coming from. Ignoring the outline I made for you guys, I want most of the light coming down in this direction. So that means underneath would be a lot darker, and also depending on how poofy you want it out, like some of this might be a little dark depending on if it like kind of poofs out in that direction. Then you have kind of a oval or circle poof. So I can break this down a little probably easier with this next cloud for you. This is our practice cloud. And I'm not looking at a reference picture for this, so if it does help you to just practice with the reference, definitely do that. Okay, I'm going to go back to the white. And help have some more highlights up here. And this is just pure white. I'm going back in to lighten up this area because I didn't quite blend it the way I wanted to. Just have a smoother transition. So there's our first little bit of a stormy cloud. I didn't really super give you steps. This is just kind of how I do it. And also it does help to have a reference or just something to go off of where you know the light is coming from. Let's let that guy dry and I'll work on this space, open space down here. Okay, so for this cloud I'm gonna actually sketch it out for you and do more of a step-by-step. So this one was more of a show you how I do them, the process. This I'll try to make it more of step by step. So I'm adding little edges, almost like the bottom of a triangle, but we're not making a triangle. And then since we want it poofy, let's make light, very light circles, maybe where we want it to be poofy. Right? Different sizes. Different heights. Alright, so now that it looks like a monster, we're going to take this and kind of, well, that's not going to work. I'm going to go through this one because I think it'll be too high. And then kind of curve it up to this one. And these don't have to be perfectly following these circles. They're just kind of an idea. Okay. So I'm not going to erase because I'm just going to paint over it. On paper you might want to erase. Since this is canvas, it's kind of hard to erase anyway. But yeah, now that we got our cloud sketched out, I'm going to take my larger paintbrush fill that white at the top. I'm working fast because I don't want my paint to dry before I can blend it. So I'm not filling the whole entire cloud yet. I'm just doing the top, maybe 1/4 or 1/3, so that we can now grab a little bit of black, start mixing it. This might be a little dark. Let me grab some more white. And we'll work, ooh, that's a little dark again. I'm gonna kind of go where the bottom part of my little circles are, just a little bit. Like that. I did want a lighter gray, I just kind of went fast and did like a medium gray. I'm gonna need more white. So then we can kind of mix in some white. Fill in those circles. I think they looked like we were trying to make a monster with a bunch of eyeballs. Like this. And then since I did kind of one right here too, I'm gonna put a little bit of shadow around this circle like that. And then there's one right here that I kind of want to accentuate. And then this little bubble right here, I'm gonna bring a shadow into. So just try to picture your fluffies, your fluffs of your cloud as your circles. Like just picture them as a circle, highlight and shadow them similar to a circle. And you can always, I'm running out of white, but you can always bring in more white and get that blending out better. Sometimes, like I could probably use water because this is canvas paper. Or if you're using an actual canvas, you can sometimes use a little bit of water. Water also helps if you mess up, to quickly wipe away some colors too. Now I'm just kind of trying to get that blended out nice and smooth, so it's not quite like we just did a line. See, kind of a smoother light gray transition. This is mostly just white. I added like a teensy bit of the gray that I mixed here, just on the drier parts. Like I said before, if you need to pause to do your own, and I'm doing it a little bit too fast, right, so that's kind of the top of our cloud. I didn't fill this in with all of my color, or this side. And then down here, I'm gonna go dark because I think this is gonna be more of a stormy cloud for me. I feel like the bottom part needs to be super dark. Plus I have a lot of black that I haven't used yet. So just kind of fill that. If you've been trying to make yours look like mine, I'm just filling that bottom section we haven't done with a dark gray. This isn't black quite yet. It's just dark gray. Fill that in, and then we'll need to make a transition gray. So we're gonna grab our black and white. Probably need a little bit more white for this one. It's still a little dark. And if you need to like swatch the color first before you put it on your cloud, you can. But for me, this is just kind of a practice. Still a little bit too dark. Maybe if I just go in with some white. Yeah. So because I already have a dark layer underneath, a little bit of white won't make it stark white, because we already have that darkened state. This is just a little bit of white. I'm not going in with the full paintbrush of white. Just go until those colors look smoothly blended. Right? Kind of lost my blending here. Let me rinse my brush. Take some white and get a better transition here. So unless your paint is like completely dry, you shouldn't have like mess it up with using white. I think the only way I could mess this up is if I took a giant glob of black to it. So that's what I'm doing, is adding just a teensy bit of white back in, playing with it until we get a transition that I think looks okay. So some of this is just eyeballing it. It could also be like, if you have a reference, then you kind of have something to go off of for what you're going for. I'm just kind of winging it, being creative, making a cloud, a stormy cloud. Okay, I'm gonna do a slightly smaller brush to go in with some black. I am always very timid to add in the darkest color. That's just fear that I'm gonna mess it up and not be able to go back from it. So if you have that fear, we share that fear. Okay. I don't want to do too many spots super dark. just like some major points, which would be underneath. None of this is going to be on top, unless you're doing a cloud behind it. Like if I was doing this as if it were a sky, there may be a little bit of shadow on this cloud if they were actually like this one's on top of this one. There might be some shadow. It depends where they are placed in the sky. Still a little bit of black. I'm gonna add what's left on my paintbrush to here and gonna do like a super dark gray to try and transition this a little bit. I've had some practice, so don't get discouraged if blending the colors is taking you a bit longer, or just playing around with paint, being creative with clouds. This is meant to be fun and not stressful. I think now that up here should be mostly dry, I'm gonna try to bring in a tad bit more white. Just into here. This is based on how you're doing your cloud. So if you have a reference, this is just how you can go back and touch up if something got a little bit too dark maybe. If you went this dark, it may not become as light. You gotta be careful. But since I didn't go too dark with these grays, it should turn out okay. I'm just kind of shaping my cloud better based on where we drew those circles. And then some areas you can kind of add just a little bit of puffy, like a little circle. I'm doing little tiny circle puffs, kinda, to make this blend a little better. I apologize for any cars you can hear in the playback of this. There's a few people going by today. And then I'm even going to bring a little bit of white down into here, just where it's a little puffier, puffing out. Okay, I think I like my cloud. If you need to just kind of adjust yours some more, that's okay. But I'm going to end the video here. I hope you enjoyed this little paint along, I guess. It wasn't super step by step. But I hope you had fun making a cloud. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up so that other people can find it and enjoy it. And subscribe to this channel for more art videos. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of the week.